Welcome to the training program for the 2018 UW Voter Registration Team. Let's start with some numbers. These are from last year, but they usually don't change much from year to year. There were 43,000 UW-Madison students, of whom 37,000 were from the U.S. and are probably eligible voters. 23,000 are from Wisconsin, and about 3,000 are from Illinois, and 3,000 from Minnesota. Many of them have recently turned 18 and have never voted before. Others have voted but have moved and will need to register again. The challenge is to register a huge number of voters. We do have Election Day registration in Wisconsin, but what happens if everyone waits to register? For the April 2016 presidential primary, Marquette University in Milwaukee had a polling place at the Student Union. There was a 2-hour wait to register. But if you were already registered, there was no line at all. The Associated Students of Madison will need registration team members to help during registration drives, during the bus pass distribution at the start of the semester, and other events until October 17, which is the last day for registration drives. ASM events will be strictly nonpartisan. Other groups will have registration events, some partisan and some nonpartisan. The goal is to have 1,000 hours of volunteer time, and if each registration takes about 10 to 15 minutes, 5 per hour, to register 5,000 students. Many of these voter registration events will be listed at go.wisc.edu/vote-events. This is a subset of the UW events calendar. Anyone can help with these registration efforts. You do not need to be an eligible Wisconsin voter. You do not sign any registration forms. You are simply helping the process. There's 4 parts to this training. 1. Choose where to vote. 2. Registration and proof of residence. 3. Voter ID and proof of enrollment. And 4. The Big Ten Voting Challenge. Part 1. Choose where to vote. Students can choose one location as their voting address, either their campus area address or their home address, whether it is in Wisconsin or another state. There are advantages to voting using their home address away from Madison. It might be a stable address. A student might be familiar with home state politics. And now it is easy to register online in 37 states. There are disadvantages to using their home address away from Madison. There might be an early deadline for registration, up to 30 days before the election. Every state is different. Voters need to apply for an absentee ballot and comply with the requirements. There might be delays in the mail. A typical conversation might be, "Would you like to register to vote?" The response, "No thanks, I'm not from here." The volunteer's response, "Where do you plan to vote? We have information on registering in other states." If they choose to register in another state, they can go to tinyurl.com/popstates. This information page has links to registration and absentee voting for 10 popular states. If they choose to register in Wisconsin but outside Madison, they can use the myvote.wi.gov website, which we will talk about in a minute. But students may not realize they are eligible voters using their campus address. There are advantages to voting in Madison. Your assigned polling place will be nearby. There are 7 polling places on campus and 8 more nearby. There will be opportunities to register on campus. There will be early voting on campus. Voting on Election Day at the polling place can help prevent ballot errors. Additional advantages to voting in Madison. The local news and information will be about Wisconsin and Madison. Wisconsin voters directly affect the UW. The November 6th election is for governor. Other offices on the ballot are the Wisconsin Attorney General, the state legislature, and the U.S. Senate. For tuition purposes, you might be classified as an out-of-state resident. However, for voting residency is established in 10 days. For Wisconsin, you can register as soon as you move in, as long as it is 10 days before the election. If a student chooses to vote in Madison, the next step will be for them to register, which is addressed in Part 2 of this program.